My next video lecture is on operating modes or control formats for 8255. So here I'm going to explain the control word format for 8255. So as in the previous video lecture said that 8255 is consisting of two groups. In the internal block diagram of the normal block diagram of 8255, I said there will be two groups and totally three ports itself. Okay, like port A, port B, and port C. And in port C, we'll be having some lower bits and upper bits. Okay, and here this group A, here it's consisting of 5 bits itself. That is, it starts from D3 to 7. And group B will controlling the 3 bits, that is D0 to D1. So let us know what is the main functionality of each bit. Okay, starting from the D0, that is LSB, least significant bit. So in the least significant bit, the D0 is going to be handled with the port C lower bits. Okay, that ranges from PC3 to PC0. So whenever this D0 bit is set to 1, if it is set to 1, then the port lower, to make the port C lower bit as an input. So if it has to be act like an input, then we want to make this D0 bit as a 1. If it is set to 1, the PC lower bit will be acting like an input. Okay, the P port C bits are used for the input purpose. If the D0 bit is set to 0, then those port pins are used as an output. Okay, short and simply here, if the D0 bit is set to 1, the lower bits of port C will be activated or functioned as an input. If it is set to 0, then it will be as an output. Similarly, when we go for D1 bit, so in D1 bit, it's going to be controlled port B bits. So here, if D1 bit is set to 1, if D1 bit is set to 1, means we are making the port B as input when D1 is 1. When D1 bit is set to 1, we are making the port B bits as an input. Means we are going to connect the port B bits as an for the input purpose. Otherwise, it is like an inverse case. Means if D1 bit is 0 and those port B bits are used for the output. Okay, when it is set, whatever the ports related to the D0 will be activated as an input. Okay, if it is set to 0, it will be function as an output. Similarly, D1 also. So we have to remember that which port bits are cumulative for this bits. Okay, for D0, we are going to bother about the port C lower, and for D1, we are going to bother about the port B. And final D2 bit. So here, this D2 bit, here this bit is meant for mode selection. This bit is meant for the mode selection. For which? For port B. Okay, so if this bit is set to 1, that is D2 is set to 1, then the port B will be operated in the mode 0. Okay, the port B bit will be operated in the mode 0 when D2 bit is set to 1. If D2 bit is set to 0, sorry, when D2 bit is set to 1, it's going to be operated as mode 1. If D2 bit is set to 0, it is going to be activated as mode 0. Okay, 1 for mode 1, 0 for mode 0. Okay, so this is going to be happen when D2 bit. Okay, so whenever the D2 bit is set to 1, the port B is going to be function, it's going to be operated as a mode 1. If it is set to 0, it is going to be operated as a mode 0. Okay, that is a functionality related to group B. Now let's move on to the group A, where there will be start from, as I said for you, from D3 to D7. So now here my D7 bit is the most significant bit. D0 is the least significant bit, and whereas the D7 is the most significant bit. Now starting from the D3 bit here, so here it is completely related with the group A. So here this D3 is meant for upper bits. It's meant for PC port C upper bits. That is rest over bits. That is P7 to PC4. Okay. Whenever to make this port C upper bits as an input, we have to set D3 as a 1. If we want to make these ports as an output, we have to set D3 as an output. Okay, so a commonly thing I can explain you here that whenever we want to make the port pins to be activated to be functioned as the input ports, then we have to set these bits as to 1. If we want to make those 4 bits as for output, then we have to make these bits as a 0. So that small thing you have to remember here. Okay, this is meant for D3. Coming to D4 here, it is responsible for port A. Okay, so here also, whenever if you want to make port A bits as an input, we have to set D4 to 1, or if D4 is 0, it is set to 0, then port A bits will be activated as 4 or function for outputs. Okay, now coming to the last, D6 and D7 bits. So these bits are meant for mode of selection here. So how which will be there means, let us think this is D6 and this is D5. Okay, so let's think of my mode of selection. So here my mode of selections, everything will be related to port A. That you have to remember. So let's have 0, 0, 0, 1. As we have the 2 bits, right? We'll be having 4 combinations, right? So and here 1 and X I'm going to write. So as this relevant to mode 0, this is relevant to mode 1, and this is relevant to mode 2. Means here, whenever D6 and D5 bits are set to 0, the port A will be operated in mode 0. Okay, if the D6 is bit is set to 1 and D5 is set to, D6 bit is set to 0 and D5 bit is set to 1, then it will be, the port A will be operated in mode 1. When D6 is 1, maybe D5 may be 0 or 1. Okay, then it will be operated in the mode 2. Means the port A will be operated in mode 2. So this is the thing which is going to happen around D6 and D5 bits. And the last one, that is D7 bit. This bit is specified either it may function, means we can have input or output function, or we can go for bit set or reset function, that is BSR mode. Means if this bit is set to 1, means D7 is set to 1. If it is set to 1, then the complete 8255 will be working in IO mode, that is input or output mode. Whereas if D7 is bit is set to 0, then complete 8255 will be working on DSL mode, that is bit set and reset mode. This is a small concept about the control word format of 8255, or you can say operating modes for the 8255. Thank you.